Throughout 2020, Indonesia has focused on establishing bilateral relations with South Korea, from economic, military, and cultural. But did you know that North Korea already established relations first with Indonesia and almost into Axis alliance? Hey, I'm Ezaivan Abdullah. Here I present you with my InnoSearch 2021 submission called The Indonesian-North Korea Diplomatic Relationship 1960 until 1967. Let's get started. From this presentation, I am researching the diplomatic relation between Indonesia and North Korea around 1960 until 1967. I'm raising three research questions: the internal and external factor, both countries' relation, the catalyst, and the significance for the two nations. For this research, I'm using history research method with four procedures: heuristic, inter and eccentric, interpretation, and historiography. My source primarily from newspaper, archive, and contemporary book. Also, I'm using journal and books with the suitability for my research and online archive with credible source. To my analysis, we have to know the situation in Indonesia and Korea Peninsula around 1950s. Korean Peninsula trapped in civil war or known as Korean War from 1950 to 1953, and Indonesia still on experimental era called parliamentary democracy and instability due to local separatist movement. But Indonesia still observes the international event, especially in Korean Peninsula. These issues became hot topic in parliament to discuss Indonesia's stance in the war. At the end, the government decided to neutral. This stance was to avoid Cold War conflict. Indonesia also invited by US to observe POW camp in Koje or Gyeonggi, but refused by Indonesia due to the risk of a neutral for both Cold War faction. The first formal relation between Indonesia and North Korea established in 1957 from official trade agreement. In 1959, parliamentary democracy shifted into guided democracy, personally led by Sukarno. Gradually, relations between two countries improved into political relation when both countries established consul general in 1961 and embassy in 1964. Around the 90s, both countries are already giving political support each other, and their political bureaucrats exchanging visits to study each country's accomplishment. The peak of the relation is when Sukarno personally visited North Korea in 1964 and Kim Il-sung visited Indonesia in 1965. This visit inspired Sukarno to establish a new Axis as an alternative front in the Cold War, and this concept announced in August 17, 1965 called Jakarta, Phnom Penh, Hanoi, Peking, Pyongyang Axis, or shortened as Peking Axis. This concept only shortly due to September coup or G30S and full shifting into domestic issues. After Sukarno ousted, this axis was never realized again, and the only country who voiced this support was North Korea, while China hasn't given their stance on the axis yet. The rest candidate members didn't approach yet due to September coup. For the conclusion, Indonesia established relations with North Korea as a pure bebas active stance. But in guided democracy era, this stance biased with Sukarno interpretation and slowly led to Eastern Bloc. Indonesia and North Korea relation flourished rapidly due to similarity views of domestic and international events. Both countries also supporting each other policy without interfering their respective interests. That's all for my presentation. I apologize if there's any inconvenience and miswords from my previous explanation. Thank you very much and see you next time.